Couldn't turn everything in sideways. I mean, we could, but they would have gained 14 life and taken a dragon away from us. And I'd rather not lose any dragons at this point. A huge thank you to Ramsey McCarthy for his support on Patreon. Tiamat versus Grazilax Illithid Scholar, Volo Guide to Monsters, and Sigarda Host of Herons. It's an okay hand, I suppose. We've got a lot of colours, so we'll be able to get into Tiamat from there, and hopefully Old Gnawbone will be able to fix our colours even further, so we'll keep just some lands from all of our opponents to start things off. Farseek from Sigarda. Sylvan Caryatid coming down for the Volo player. And that's the first time I've ever seen this played on Magic Online. Urza's Saga. No doubt going after a Sol Ring at some point with that. No blue mana over here yet. Assassin's Trophy. We don't have black yet. So yeah, we'll just drop the land and pass here. Wolfwillow Haven enchanting one of the lands here, so I wonder if there's an Enchantress sub-theme, which is usually quite good with Sigarda Valtron. First commander of the game, Volo, Guide to Monsters, coming into play now. Alright, and getting into a blue mana. And activating the Construct here, I think. Yeah, 2 and tap, get a Construct. +1/+1 per artifact you control. Okay, and just another big dragon for us, so not going exactly according to plan. I wonder if it's worth a board wipe at this point. I'd rather wait for the Sigarda to come out. Do we have to worry about wheels with our Mana Crypt in hand? I'll leave it for now. And yeah, it does look like an Enchantress theme. There's Sphere of Safety now. Would definitely be pointing Assassin's Trophy at the Volo here if we had any black mana available to us. Then casting Wood Elves, so gonna get 2 copies of Wood Elves, thanks to Volo of course. Swiftfoot Boots being equipped to the Volo now as well, and Shocking in the breeding pool, so maybe there is a Swan Song in hand here, which is relevant against the board wipe. And then the Urza Saga being activated again here. And getting another Construct into play. Oh, I see, doing it in response, so this triggers during the main phase. I thought it was funny that they managed to get another Construct out there, but yeah, if you do this during the upkeep, apparently, then you can make another Construct. So the Urza Saga goes away, Sol Ring comes out, as we assumed it would, and they have another island there, mixing snow and regular basics. So if we don't get into any decent colours here, we've got the Rift there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one shy of overloading the Rift. Let's just try the Blasphemous Act. And if our opponent has that Swan Song, we'll get it out of their hand, but managing to wipe the board successfully here. So here comes Sigarda, Host of Herons. Obviously didn't get wrapped up in the board wipe, unfortunately. I was assuming that Totem Armor would go on there anyway. But we've got Cyclonic Rift in hand now. Ah, that's what it was. A Worldly Tutor is what they were wanting to hold up there. And it is Scoot Swarm that they've gone after with that. So playing out that Scoot Swarm. And Boots onto there as well. Looks like the mono blue player does something in response. That is a Pongify. So quickly dealing with the Scoot Mob, which is good because, or Scoot Swarm even, not Scoot Mob. This thing breaks Magic Online if it goes too crazy with all the ramp and stuff. So yeah, glad to see the back of that one. Another commander coming into play, Grazilax. And then casting a Thirst for Knowledge. Draw 3, discard 2 unless you discard an artifact. And they did discard Bident of Thassa, so going up to 7 cards in hand. Now, some kind of a fetch, some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Yeah, pretty rough. We're just gonna... We could play out the Mana Crypt and try and bait out some removal for it, and then we can go to Fairy's Protection, but I don't think it's worth doing that. If we still don't get into a land next turn, then we're going to have to drop the Mana Crypt and not discard to hand size. The Celestia player playing Witch's Clinic. Target commander gets lifelink until the end of the turn for 2. And that is +1/+1 for each aura you control, so this is an 8/8 now. And an Armadillo Cloak as well, so that is a different type of lifelink. So if they get lifelink and this, they'll gain the life twice. And they swing in towards the blue player, so another hit like that next turn and that'll be commander damage. A Marrowleaf Pixie as well, did not put the Swiftfoot Boots on there, so might be holding up 4 mana for something. And the mono blue player drawing 3 cards here with Gadwick the Wizened. Putting 3 into X there, of course. So 9 cards in hand there, and we'll have to discard down. Or maybe not, there's a Jeweled Lotus. And now we're getting hit by Grazilex, Ithelid Scholar, and that will get exalted, so 4 commander damage on us. Now it's turn 6, let's see if we can get our 5th land here. Nope. So, it's Mana Crypt and hold up Teferi's Protection. The mono blue player discarded, that's funny, just discarded and a null, by the way, although they didn't have the mana held up for that anyway. Field of Ruin as well. 3 Visits, exactly what we could do with, being cast by the Sigarda though, unfortunately. And yeah, Sigarda's going in to deal the damage to the mono blue player, so that is them done. Unless the Volo player decides to save them here. Okay, Beast Within. So wanting the help of the blue player, clearly. Giving them the 3/3 Beast and only dealing a further 7 commander damage now. Only 1 card left in hand, and noteworthy that not giving Sigarda lifelink here, so what is that? 2, 4, 6 and 7 mana held up. Follow Guide to Monsters, and is able to equip the Swiftfoot Boots because of the Marrowleaf Pixie. And that is a runaway together. Choose 2 creatures, return them to their owner's hand, so getting rid of the 2 tokens, the Ape and the Beast, and then Gadwick can tap something down. So just deciding to tap down the Sphere of Safety. And now Curiosity going on to the Gadwick, and tapping down the other aura that's on the land. Curiosity, I'm sure you all know, but enchant a creature whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, draw a card. That is a May ability. And then swinging in at the Sigarda player, because they are wide open, so yeah, Exalted going on to there again. So 4 commander damage going through at the Sigarda player. Chrome Mox coming into play as well. As foretold, going underneath that, and looks like it's round to our turn. See if we draw into a land on our turn 7. Well, we do, but it's a tap land. What will that be? 4, 5, 6 and 7, so we'll be able to go for Old Gnawbone or Ataka. So instead of holding up the protection, let's go for the tap land into play first, of course, and then we'll go for the Scourge of Valkus. And it'll probably not stay in play, but we'll see. So I'll just deal the 1 damage straight to the Sigarda player. Don't think that going down to 53 is really going to hurt them. Yeah, there we go. So a Winds of Wrath, destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted. Let's see if they go again to take out the blue player. Yeah, they do swing in at them again, so we're getting rid of 1 player here, although do they have something to do here? Not worthy that their commander's in play because it is enchanted after the Winds of Wrath. They've got a Shark Typhoon. Won't that be a 0/0? I think they only put 2 mana into that. Yeah, if they'd had 1 more mana, they would have been able to put 1 into X for the cycling. And then that would have made a 1/1 flyer and they could have chumped, but unfortunately don't have quite enough there. And the Volo player just deciding to pass the turn here. I think what we have to do in an attempt to try and keep up is go for the Chromatic Orrery. I mean, we'll see what we draw into here, but yeah, okay, Dragon's Horde. So Chromatic Orrery, and then we can hold up both Teferi's Protection and Assassin's Trophy. And hopefully the Volo player isn't going to counter this. Haven't really done anything this game, so if they were to counter that, I would assume it's to encourage the Sigarda player over to us. So we'll see. We might be able to hold on to our instants here. If the Sigarda player comes in towards us, I'll just go for the Teferi's Protection and Assassin's Trophy, I think. Sigarda is in top deck mode here, by the way. There we go, Enchantress's Presence. Pretty good top deck for them, but they need to get into another enchantment now. Makes our Cyclonic Rift slightly worse. If we go for Assassin's Trophy, it'll be onto that thing. Because at the moment, they do need to top deck an enchantment, but if we Cyclonic Rift, they can get some cards back into their hand. You would think they would go after the Volo player here, but they, yeah, going after us. So worried about all the mana we've got as a dragon player now. So we'll add a bunch of mana here. Go after their trophy. Or go after their enchantress with our trophy. And then we'll go for Teferi's Protection so that we can keep commander damage away from ourselves. I think this was the blue player. Consecrated Sphinx. So, yeah, the Volo player is going to start drawing a bunch of cards here. Luckily, can't put the boots on there. So we phase back in and we'll see if we get bolted here. I'm thinking we go for Tiamat and then we're going to have to use it to chump block Sigarda, I think. And we can go for some hasty creatures. Or a means of giving our creatures haste. Alright, there's a land finally. Drawing a card will trigger the Consecrated Sphinx. So drop the Wooded Foothills. Let's grab Black Source here. Not that it matters as long as we can keep the Orrery in play. So throwing out the Tiamat, and they will have to buff their commander if they want to swing it in towards us without losing it. Without losing their Sigarda. So first thing we want is haste with the Dragon Lord Kolaghan. I think we'll grab Bladewing the Risen as well, so that we can reanimate one of our creatures at some point, assuming they go down. We can go for the Dragon as well, maybe, because that will be able to throw down the Old Gnawbone. I don't think it brings it in attacking. Yeah, it doesn't put it in attacking, so yeah, we'll have to try and work that out. Let's see here. I don't think we necessarily need Lathlis. How about a Balefire Dragon so that we can try and deal with the Volo player, who is obviously creature based. And we'll go for Scion of Draco as well. And then Steel Hellkite will probably be a good one as well to try and get rid of some of these artifacts, or enchantments even. Now we can go for Dragon's Horde. Maybe should have done that before the Tiamat. And then we'll go for Scion of Draco as well. So what keywords does this give to our commander? I actually forget. We get a gold counter on the Dragon's Horde. This now has First Strike, Hexproof, Lifelink, Trample and Vigilance. So if they can't buff this, it actually won't come in towards us, I don't imagine. I don't imagine they'll actually turn it sideways at all if they can't do anything of relevance. And we are at the perfect hand size here. If we'd had to discard there, I would have just got rid of the Dragon Lord Kolaghan, because then we could have reanimated it with Bladewing the Risen and would have given all of our stuff haste, of course. But I'm really looking to get the Old Gnawbone out next turn. Alright, so managing to keep Sigarda out of combat for a turn, that's really good. Volo at what will be 9 cards at the beginning of the turn though. So now putting the Swiftfoot Boots onto their Sphinx. And going through to the end step, so yeah, Volo doesn't like any of the 8 cards in hand apparently. We will draw a card with the Dragon's Horde. They will draw even more cards thanks to that. We get Reliquary Tower, which is great with the Orrery. So we go down to 26 thanks to our Mana Crypt. There's a Dragon Land for us. Consecrated Sphinx continuing to draw cards over there. It might be a hell of a battle against the Simic player. Yeah, maybe going after the Simic player is the intelligent play. Drop Reliquary Tower. Or maybe both of us should gang up on Sigarda before Sigarda goes crazy. There is Trample here. 1 board wipe. 1 shots us out of the air as well. So why don't we go Ataka. And Ataka will give our dragons double strike when they swing him. Another gold counter on the Dragon's Horde. And we'll go Old Gnawbone as well. I did want haste in play, but we've got double strike and trample. Oh, it's only first strike and trample on this, so I did want the hasty creature in play, but we'll have double strike and trample on this, so we're going to get some treasure tokens. Let's go Old Gnawbone. And the Volo player letting it down. So maybe not too much counter magic from Volo. Go after the Celestia player with our commander. Oh, and of course, completely the number of times I forget about prison effects. Alright, I want the treasures, so we'll go after Volo. Does gain double strike. Also has hexproof, lifelink, trample and vigilance, as well as flying, obviously. Our opponent doesn't like the fact that we're swinging in towards him. I mean, Yeah, lots of cards in hand and Simic player, so... Oh, what are they doing here? Is that a rift? Actually only have 6 mana, so not likely. Really, really want this to land here. Okay, and that does land, that's really good. They might have had response in some means or another there, but yeah, they didn't go for it, whatever it was, so we're at least getting first strike damage. And we are putting our opponent at 14 points of commander as well. So I'm just going to draw a card now with the Dragon's Horde. I don't think we'll be casting anything, might just hold up the Cyclonic Rift. Okay, Dragon's Tempest is good. Yeah, it's a little bit late, but does give our dragons flying when they enter, or gives them haste even when they enter. And it deals damage as well. Is it any target? Yeah, X is the number of dragons you control, any target. I think we're just holding up Cyclonic Rift here. They've been holding on to 1 card since last turn over there, so not sure if it's an enchantment that could have helped them with the Enchantress's presence. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was worried about. Single combat. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control and sacks the rest. So I think the thing to do here is keep hold of... Do we keep hold of this for the keywords and then reanimate the old Gnawbone? We'll keep hold of the old Gnawbone, and I can choose what to reanimate later. Put our commander back in the command zone. Obviously could reanimate that with Bladewing the Risen, but it's not as good without all the keywords on it from the Scion of Draco, and we only get the effect from casting it anyway. Plus we've got a stacked hand at the moment. So if they're coming at us here, which they do not, yeah, I'm still going to go for the Rift at the end of the turn, at the end of the Simic player's turn. And then hopefully we'll be able to deal a nice chunk of damage. Now I have a feeling that the Simic player isn't playing anything because they want to hold up Cyclonic Rift. We'll see if our Rift tempts theirs into play here. Looks like they're just passing straight through the turn again. So going through to the end step with nothing held up. Maybe they've got counter magic for the Cyclonic Rift. So we've got 7 treasures held up. Maybe it's worth going for Tiamat to get the Goldspan Dragon to get double the mana from the treasure tokens. Alright, and there's a Swan Song, so we can use that to chump block with at least. Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of counter magic in the Simic player's hand now, so I'm actually more worried about them than Sigarda at this point. Oh, and the bird doesn't make much of a chump blocker thanks to the trample, does it? Losing the flip again to Mana Crypt. Luckily we were at 40 life there, because we did have some lifelink on our commander previously. Consecrated Sphinx continuing to do stuff over there. We have a Windswept Heath that we can play this turn. I think I'll go for the Temple of the Dragon Queen though. Let's play out Dragon Tempest first of all. I've got priority here, but it's not letting me cast anything for whatever reason. Oh, of course, it's because of single combat. Players can't cast creature or planeswalker spells until the end of the next turn. Yeah, I forgot about that part of the text there. Yeah, so maybe we can still swing in at the Simic player. I think we're public enemy number 1 anyway. And if they've got anything here, then so be it. So blocking with the Consecrated Sphinx. We will keep our old Gnawbone, but finally getting rid of that thing. Discard some cards here, including a Clone, Karuga, Nest Invader, Wall of Blossoms. Seems like they're struggling on mana more than anything. So no trample there, unfortunately. Let's see if we can do anything at all. Should have done that before combat, really. Okay, Smothering Tithe. Yeah, we'll go for that. So if we can't make treasures with our old Gnawbone, then we'll be able to make it with Smothering Tithe, maybe. Might be that the Sigarda still holds back, because, yeah, still in top deck mode, and I doubt we can buff it enough and give double strike, enough to one-shot somebody. I'm paying for the Smothering Tithe there. Plenty of mana from the Sigarda player, but deciding not to swing in at us. Sort of a case of seeing if both these players can deal with us at the moment. Tables have turned since the beginning of the game. We will be able to draw 4 cards with the Chromatic Orrery as well. Maybe should have done that last turn, but I want to represent something from our opponents. something for them to worry about, that is. Noteworthy that we do have 4 coloured permanents as well, so Chromatic Orrery will be able to draw us 4 cards there. Could have done it last turn, but I want to represent something scary from our opponent, or something scary to do to our opponents. Well, there's Lightning Greaves, so I mean, it's just another Swiftfoot Boots, really. And there's a Mana War, so getting to bounce something there. And yeah, going after the Gnawbone, as you would expect. Oh, should have gone for the Chromatic Orrery in response to that. Oh well, we'll draw 1 less card. Yeah, I'm passing at that, so we'll go for the card draw now. Alright, and a Patriarch's Bidding. Finally getting into a Triome. Can't believe we haven't seen any of those all game. Haven't seen any of the fetches either. Winning the Mana Crypt flip this time. And now we're getting into the lands, bit late. Yeah, we could go for the Goldspan Dragon here. So let's do that. Might be that it gets countered, but I mean, if it's countering this, hopefully it doesn't counter something else. Alright, there is Counter Spell. They might have another counter, but we'll try it. Return to the command zone, yes. That's why we really want Dragonlord Dramoka in play if we can help it. So let's go for Bladewing the Risen here. And the blue player still holding up priority over there, but that comes down. I'll deal 1 damage here, and then when the next dragon comes out we can deal 2 here, and that should be lethal if we can turn both the dragons in sideways with Double Strike, because we're obviously getting the Ataka World Render here. And then it could be that they bounce... yeah, they could bounce something in response still, but let's go for Old Gnawbone again, try and keep ourselves in mana. So we'll turn everything in sideways here at the Simic player. And our dragons gain Double Strike. Okay, and it's Cyclonic Rift, so they could bounce something there, but I think we've still got lethal on them here. Unfortunately, can't put some dragons in the air now to potentially block the Sagada. Turns out they did have the Cyclonic Rift that whole time, by the way. I don't know why they didn't overload it. They could have saved it and overloaded it in an attack like this. Maybe they were assuming that we wouldn't attack them. But you've got a load of cards in hand. I'm going to prioritise you over the player that I hope I can deal with. So taking a player down there. And yeah, just a case of hoping that Sagada can't do anything too crazy. We'll play out the tap land. And that can be it. And Avacyn's Pilgrim, they've got 1 card in hand, so not sure which one they've just drawn into. They've been holding on to something for at least a turn. And there is Double Strike, so there's the 14 damage. So if they had something like... oh, what is it called? I'll put it up on the screen. There's a 1 mana aura that buffs per... I think it's enchantment that's in play, Ethereal Armour. And this is exactly why I wanted some kind of dragon in play to block with. They're deciding to swing in here. We'll just block with the bird to block a bit of commander damage there. And we're only at 7 points of commander for some reason. They have Double Strike and Trample, so... not sure why. We should have had... what would that be? 12 points of commander damage there. It's almost like the Double Strike didn't happen. Oh well, I don't think it's going to be relevant here because we should be able to be taking our opponent out soon. Skyshroud Claim getting into the ramp a little bit too late. I think we definitely want Balefire Dragon in because it will take out our opponent's Sagada. Don't think it's relevant to shoot the Avacyn's Pilgrim, so I won't bother with that. I'll just bolt my opponent, and we'll go for the Dragon here as well. And then of course we can't attack them just yet. We need to hope that... I mean, we've got the Dragon in play, so yeah, I'm just hoping that we've got enough to block them with at the moment. Still having to play around the Sphere of Safety. Paying for the Smothering Tithe. Yeah, we're on dicey ground still. If they manage to wipe the board... no, they just played a land. I was going to say if they managed to wipe the board, then... yeah, we'd be in a pretty tough spot there because they'd actually get commander damage off on us. So at the end of the turn, let's draw a card with the Dragon's Horde. And finally drawing into all the lands. And a Chromatic Lantern, so drawing into everything in the wrong order. Right, so how much do we have to pay per creature? Doesn't tell us. 1, 2, 3... and 4 per creature. So that'll be 16 mana if we want to swing in with all of these. We'll drop a land. And we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. We can drop the old Gnawbone in when we swing. Alright, we're not going to be able to hit our opponent, unfortunately, with anything other than the Dragon, so let's just swing in with that. Right, so we've got the Dragon. Just going to draw a single card with that, because they do have a big double strike Sigarda in the way. Draw 1, Dragonlord Silumgar will target, I imagine. Yes, so let's go for the old Gnawbone. Continue to hit our opponent with the Dragon Tempest. And we're going to get 20 tokens here, thanks to old Gnawbone, because they decided not to block. Couldn't turn everything in sideways. I mean, we could, but they would have gained 14 life and taken a dragon away from us. And I'd rather not lose any dragons at this point. So we get 20 treasure tokens. Let's go for our commander. So Tiamat comes into play again. Dragon Tempest is continuing to deal a bunch of damage. And with Tiamat, I want to get the treasure doubler. Lathless is probably a good idea as well. So let's go Goldspan Dragon. Terror of the Peaks, definitely. Lathless for more dragon tokens. Dragonlord Dramoka we wanted previously. And we'll go for the Utvara Hellkite as well. Just trying to make as many tokens as possible so that we can deal a bunch of damage with Dragon Tempest. So the first thing will have to be Goldspan Dragon, so that we can double up all these treasure tokens. Our dragons cost 1 less as well, thanks to having the Dragon in play. Then let's go for Lathless, I suppose. We can actually go Utvara Hellkite as well, thanks to all the mana that we're generating with Old Gnawbone and Goldspan. So Utvara Hellkite comes into play, Lathless triggers, and that will trigger the Dragon Tempest as well, and we're just trying to deal as much direct damage to our opponent as possible. I think we can do it. Oh yeah, we just took them down by 9 damage there alone. So a Dragon token comes into play. Dragon's Hoard has got a lot of gold counters on it. Massive props to my opponent, by the way. This has been, yeah, there we go. This has been a pretty long game. We managed to pull that back, didn't we? So pulling off another comeback, yet again, this is becoming a meme at this point, isn't it? Like I said, massive props to my opponent. These were internet randoms, so the fact that my opponent decided to play all that out is astonishing to me. Yeah, didn't swing in with everything there. Oh, and our opponent's next card would have been the Spirit Mantle, which would have spelt the end for us. Protection from creatures. Yeah, that's the risky run with Sigarda. I think the absolute all-star of the game was Old Gnawbone there, because, you know, green needs more ramp, doesn't it? But the fact that we can make a heap of treasures and do something during the second main as well, and even more with Goldspan Dragon doubling them up, yeah, this worked out really well for us in the end. It just took us 14 turns to get there because we weren't doing anything in the early game. Anyhow, hopefully you all enjoyed that Tiamat deck. If you want to see more from it, then be sure to let me know. Leave it a thumbs up and share with your friends to help with YouTube's algorithms. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.